But anyways, we're going to transition over to the big report now, and we don't know if it's actually going to happen. We kind of made a video about this already with a different team, but the Spurs are reportedly in on the Kevin Durant hunt because Kevin Durant's going to be a free agent after this year.
Who isn't, though?
Well,
I say, be prepared for 28 more videos on who wants Kevin Durant.
Well, and on Reddit, I saw a funny comment. It was 29 teams interested in Kevin Durant. Knicks are not interested because it doesn't fit the triangle.
Yeah,
I love that. I mean, I'm looking at KD and I'm looking at the Spurs, and it doesn't really make sense in my mind just because where is he going to play? Is he going to be the stretch four right there? I mean, because you're gonna move LaMarcus to the center, you're going to play KD at power forward and then Kawhi at small forward. I mean, I don't think you want to go super like big there with Kawhi being your shooting guard.
Kawhi can match up against 1 through 5 on the floor. It doesn't matter.
He can, but I mean, also, do you want him that big of a lineup though? Because then maybe do you want like an aging Tim Duncan as your center? Do you want? I mean, I don't.
Tim Duncan's already
Tim
playing
Duncan on
minutes.
this team?
He's already playing limited minutes.
True, but I'm just looking at this and I don't see his exact fit on the team. I mean, the Spurs with Kevin Durant is dangerous.
They're
without
deep as
a
shit.
doubt.
He'll have a spot.
Yeah, I mean,
like worst case scenario, him and Boban will share some time.
Would you actually see it as a viable option though, as KD wanting to go to San Antonio? Because obviously, he has Pop, but do you think he wants to be the man?
Do you like rings? Because that's what he'd be looking for.
That's the only reason he'd go. But he wouldn't even get a top contract if he did that. Like,
no.
The Spurs would give up. They'd have to cut some weight, and then you still couldn't even compete. Like, it would be a short-term deal so he can cash in somewhere else later.
I just look at it and I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, if it does happen, that makes that team so dangerous because you'll have Kawhi, who's one of the best defenders. You have KD, who's one of the best just scorers
Literally
in
the
general.
best scorer we've possibly ever seen.
Well, Steph might be arguing with that just because of the way he can shoot. And then you have LaMarcus, who's one of the top big men in the league. Looking at it, it's just dangerous what's truly happening. I mean, I don't see the possible cap situation that really does free up a ton of money because Kawhi's locked up. I mean, unless Tony Parker somehow leaves, they're going to have to move Danny Green's 10-year contract or $10 million contract.
Oh, yeah, totally. Let's not move Danny Green because moving Green would get us Kevin Durant. I think anybody would take Durant.
No, but how
Green.
are they going to move a 3-year $30 million 3-year contract for Danny Green? I'm just saying.
Everybody wants shooters. You'll find somebody who wants a kid who can shoot the three.
Yeah. You know the weird thing though, think about that lineup, you're like, oh, it'd be so great. It's weird watching the Spurs team when they give the ball to Aldridge, like Aldridge being their go-to guy. Their offense doesn't look right. I'm hoping I'm not the only one on this.
And he just bats it down in the post. I like it.
He's dominating. Don't get me wrong.
I love it.
He's absolutely
let him
killing
go to work.
But it's weird because this isn't that Spurs offense where everybody touches the ball. It's always one more pass to get the better shot. We're not seeing that. And when you say Kevin Durant going that team, I'm like, oh, well, that's another ball stop. It's not quite Carmelo, like the ball's never going to leave his hands unless it's going in the rim.
Yeah.
But it's still, it feels like, this dream team kind of thing. I don't see that Spurs heart. I don't see Pop like going in on that.
I don't see Pop being a guy who's going to make a huge free agent splash that he doesn't see that will work exactly for him. Because I think he saw LaMarcus as possibly the next guy like a Tim Duncan, the predecessor to Tim Duncan, where you have a guy like Kawhi Leonard who's same build, not exactly the same player because Kawhi is developing his offensive game, but he's mostly known as a defensive player. But I look at it and I don't see the exact fit there. I mean, don't get me wrong. If that team is put together,
who's gonna say no to KD?
Yeah, it's gonna make that team the favorite without a doubt because you got KD, Kawhi Leonard, and LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, that's an unstoppable team there. But I don't really see. I think it kind of be like a Cavaliers situation where you have guys who might not gel and might not fit the system exactly. I mean, Pop is one of the best. Pop is the best coach in the NBA, but I mean, that's a lot to deal with there.
Well, and the one thing I'm looking at is right now I've got the contracts up for the Spurs in front of me, and the two that I'm focusing on the most is Tim Duncan, and I'm going to throw it out there, Ginobili, because Ginobili right now, 38. Does he play another year? Does he play that final year of his contract? Or do we see something where if the Spurs win a title, do Duncan and Ginobili at the same time say, we're going to walk off together? Because to me, I feel like if the Spurs win it all this year, Duncan is the admiral to LaMarcus Aldridge. Hey, kid, thanks for helping me win one. Have fun with my car while I go off and retire with this championship. But Ginobili being 38, I mean, that could be another thing.
And not a healthy 38 is the other thing. He's been struggling the last couple of years with injuries.
That opens up right there. You've got the average salary for Duncan is about 5.4, 2.8 for Ginobili. That's 8 right there. Then with the fourth free agents, you have most of it is Boban and Bonner, depending on if you're going to bring those two back. Kmart and Miller can be expendable. To me, then you have to move either Patty Mills or Danny Green, because Danny Green is 10 mil and Patty Mill is 4 mil a year, because you're not going to move Parker, you're not going to move Kawhi, you're not going to move any of the key pieces. That's what it's got to be. It's solely going to be determined on what does Ginobili do, what does Duncan do, what can we move to get KD here, and if KD comes here, it's exactly what you mentioned, Sean, earlier in this segment. He's going to be that stretch 4, because I like just reading about this. There have been so many people that are coming here. Oh, Durant can be the stretch 4. He can be the 4. It's
Kevin Durant at shooting guard.
It's like, you know what? Like, I could see it happening, especially with
legit
LaMarcus
7-foot shooting guard,
6'11" shooting guard. Jesus Christ!
Just have him run the point.
That would make him.
Zach LaVine up in here.
Oh my God!
Don't bring up Zach LaVine.
And now we're just trying to piss off.
Let's bring up Let's bring up the super team like the Minnesota Timberwolves.
The T-Wolves, baby.
If they do sign Kevin Durant, they will be a super team. I mean, without a doubt, you'll have LaMarcus Aldridge, who's one of the best centers. You'll have KD, who's one of the best players, and same with Kawhi.
Could they be more of a super team than the big 3 down there in Miami?
Well, I mean, looking at Miami
if we're
played,
talking about Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and a Luol Deng.
Dude, and a Greg Oden.
I was going Luol Deng. I'm not talking about the father of LeBron James.
The
out
father
there.
of LeBron.
I thought you were going to bring up Mario Chalmers.
Oh, Mario Chalmers.
He made that up. But I mean, looking at super teams, how they played out, in this history, I mean, the Heat obviously are the biggest example because of the big 3 there.
The big splash in free agency. Yep.
I mean, they didn't take immediate impact. It didn't take immediate it took a while for them to gel. I mean, we saw that with Spoelstra possibly getting fired.
Well, it took
we thought
1
he was
year.
a problem. Yeah.
Is 1 year a lot? Is that what we're constituting as a lot?
If you compare it to the other big 3 of Boston, they clicked immediately.
True.
I mean,
Boston, man.
I mean, those are the other 2 super teams I look at. With KD, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. Mm-hmm. That's a super team that worked fantastically.
Plus a rookie Rondo.
Yeah, I mean,
that was.
Even if you look at that Miami team, that team was loaded with depth. They even had Ray Allen at one point. I mean,
and Birdman.
Birdman, of course, and Mario Chalmers.
That's great.
But I mean, looking at it, it's just I mean, super teams are hard to beat because they're a fucking super team. But I mean, it's self-explanatory.
Dumpster fires like the Cavs had.
Yeah, I mean the Cavs
where you try to reassemble a big 3 again, but you don't get quite the right pieces. And you know what? It's a lot of frustration. It's your future. Pretty much everything's riding on it. Or you fuck up even worse and you pull a fucking Brooklyn.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
And you mortgage your future.
You mortgage it for the super team that's going to the retirement home.
Yeah, when your super team needs wheelchairs and walkers, maybe you're...
When KG's playing the grandfather on a State Farm commercial, then you know it's getting old.
The Spurs wouldn't be merging in their future, though, because they're not getting rid of Kawhi. They're not getting rid of LaMarcus. And, I mean, they don't really have a future outside of that. I mean, they mortgaged their future when, they had Tim Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. I mean, they haven't really got a rookie that's like, all right, Boban. But, looking at, they don't really mortgage their future, but again, will they be able to gel? And then you look at the coaches that were put in situations. You have Doc Rivers, who's obviously one of the best coaches in the league. You have Eric Spoelstra, who's kind of developing into one of the best coaches in the league.
Being watched over by one of the greatest coaches in the league.
Yeah, and then you look at the Cavs. You look at Blatt. Blatt's a rookie head coach. That's possibly a reason why they didn't gel. But then you look at the Spurs. You can't really make that argument because you have Greg Popovich, who's arguably one of the best coaches of all time. So, I mean, it's hard to look at this and say if they got KD, this team is not going to work out. But again, it's hard to see them totally work out because, again, maybe you do have a 6'11" shooting guard. I mean, we joked about that. But, he's going to be a stretch 4, but to what extent was that really work? Because he's going to have the ball in his hand most of the time.
To me, the team that makes the most sense for KD, if he ain't staying with the Thunder, he's going back home to DC.
Why is that exactly?
That's
what about DC makes it attractive? There's no championship there.
Scott Brooks. I'm not saying,
but there's no championship.
I'm not saying it's attractive. It's one of the things. He's either going to stay with the Thunder where he's familiar, or he's going to go to the next most familiar, which would be going back home. Plus, they have more cap room than the Spurs to get shit done.
Yeah, but I mean, cap's going up this year anyway, or next year, right?
Yeah,
it's this year
$90
and
million.
next year.
2 years,
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, one way or the other, teams are going to have more money available, but it doesn't, I don't know. I'm not sure where KD's at in his career. He could be at that, I want to win a ring because he's been so close so many times. Maybe he just goes, you know what, fuck it. I will go play for a team that I know is going to make the playoffs. I know is going to go to the finals.
Like the Spurs, like the Warriors.
Yeah, he could go that route, or he could, be like old school NBA throwback and be like, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to go take a team, whether it's, staying with the Thunder, even if Russ leaves them, like, he could just want to do that.
We never did also see. Well, I mean, Kevin Durant, he also has injury problems too, so that might play into the championship factor there. That he might not feel like he can do
Longevity
this.
of his career.
Yeah, he might not be able to do this for a long time, like Jordan, who played into his 40s. I mean,
thank God Kevin Durant is 6'11" and has one of the best shots. So even if he loses some of that elevation, like, dude can still shoot it.
oh, I'm not saying that. I mean,
No, I know. I understand what you're
Unless
saying.
Kinda
it's
like
like
a-
late in games and he bricks so much, like in the
Kobe.
playoffs.
Well, I was
going. To
I was
Kobe
going
route,
off
like,
the
you go
playoffs.
age.
I was looking more Larry Bird, where Larry
Oh.
Bird totally slowed down. He totally kind of became a role player, but was
Yeah.
still fantastic.
No, I was
It
going
changed
off
his
of
game,
the
yeah.
performance that he had. What was it against the Dallas Mavericks in the first round where he just kept missing?
There were some blunders.
Well, that was the only game they lost. I mean, I look at KD and I think of him as a guy who might be he kind of might be in the mellow boat where he might be one of the greatest players to never win a championship. I look at, Steph, who's obviously won a championship, LeBron, kind of like, that's the Jordan there, and that's the Kobe, but, and then you have, you have Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and Steph and LeBron, well, LeBron twice, but LeBron and Steph,
LeBron.
and Dwayne
What
Wade
if
and
he
LeBron,
went to
and
Miami?
now he's not going to go to Miami.
But what if,
what if
I'm
he
just saying,
won?
what if?
How
This
is
a
that going
what
to
if.
work, though? I mean, you're going to basically destroy Justice Winslow's potential because he's not going to be playing. He's going to be sitting behind KD. I mean, Dwayne Wade is injury prone. I mean, D Wade's, he's running on no knees right there. Hassan Whiteside's going to be leaving. You still need to sign Hassan Whiteside. So you're basically just going to have KD and a shit ton of veterans. And I mean, even Chris Bosh, we're going to get into that later, he might not even be able to be there next year. So we don't know if it might be KD. That kind of might play into, KD's going to get his own team. I don't see that really working out there. I mean,
that situation would be no better than him going to the Wizards because you have a
it'd be worse
point guard and then question mark.
Well,
it'd
hey,
be worse than the Wizards because John Wall's still young.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone on that Heat team's not young.
What if that Heat team makes it to the finals? Just saying, what if they make it? Does that now make it I could be that missing piece for the Heat?
I just see the Heat as their window closing. I mean, they're an aging team. It's going to be basically KD's team, and I don't think that's going to really draw him in. I mean, they might have something to draw him in if he's really attracted to Spoelstra and Pat Riley, but outside of that, I don't see anything that's like, this is why I'm going to go to this team. But I think that's really running the course there. I mean, I think KD is going to stay with Oklahoma City, and I think he's at least going to stay with them for a year because that cap is going to take another huge jump, and he's going to get an even bigger contract. I think that's going to be what the smartest thing for him to do, and I don't think the Heat are really that in contention there.